Bib standard, I came from the production floor before I came into this role and realized how well Bib standard worked in helping us with safety and along with our quality. Biggest thing coming into the fire hall, we had 35 years of clutter of gear changing out throughout the times and never being thrown away, making it hard to find the things that you need for day-to-day operations. We met some resistance with the folks that have been here for 30 years and grew with this place.
My first overall impression of the Bib standard was actually very pessimistic and very negative. I've been a member of the Michelin Emergency Response Team and the security team, and I've been here for over 35 years. Our fire hall for 35 years was working well, we thought, and we had a place for everything, we thought. The Bib standard team walked into our fire hall and made some suggestions about making changes. Now, we all know that change is very difficult sometimes to accept, and I have to admit I was certainly one of them.
My first overall impression was it's not going to work. First week into this, I was overwhelmed, basically.
Initially, it was the same as I've been at Michelin 30 years, and you're thinking it's the flavor of the week. It may be here, it may not last.
Being a production worker and seeing it happening in the shop when you heard they were doing Bib standard at the fire hall, it was like, well, how are they going to do that? What improvement are we going to gain by doing Bib standard over here? So at first I thought it's a crock, basically. It wasn't going to work.
The Bib standard in the fire hall was, I thought, was different compared to the one that I did on the shop floor with our post, because it was geared more towards production and safety and quality towards the machine. And I did, with the SMQDC boards that we do, I didn't know how we were going to get the same gains here in the fire hall.
There were many challenges with coming into the service group. First of all, we've never focused on any service areas. We've only done Bib standard in production areas or support groups. So this kind of gave us very unique challenges in itself with trying to link it with SMQDC and have gains in each of those, having quality of the gear, delivery was response time, having ergo and spaghetti gains, and we did hit on all of those. Doing the Bib standard here in the fire hall affected 57 people, which is unique in itself that when we do one out on the shop floor, it doesn't affect that many. It's focused on the machinery itself, and it's usually 1 or 2 people per crew.
How the Bib standard differs from doing it on a service group from a production machine, where production you're trying to get gains in straight productivity, trying to cut costs, trying to increase quality. However, in a service group, it is a little more difficult, where you have not production or quality per se, but you have quality of service and timely service to the customer, which is our production shops. As you know, we made some significant gains. That time is the difference between a plant standing and a plant not being here. With emergency response, typically it's very difficult to get any ergonomic gain. They are typically seen as probably one of the higher risk areas in industry. However, the gains made here in the fire hall definitely take out a lot of the risks that the emergency response team is exposed to. One is being overexertion, typically seen across the board in emergency response, and it's very hard to mitigate. However, done here very well. Also, too, it opens up the boundaries to include more people, from men and women of different statures, different weights, different strength levels, to be able to join the emergency response team.
Before we redid the fire hall, there was these training packs we'd have to take with us to training sessions and on calls and whatnot, and they were placed at about 6 feet off the ground, and they weigh about 35 pounds. In order for me to get these packs, I would have to wait for someone, which really caused an issue on response time. I'm 5'2", and it used to be quite an issue here in the fire hall. Before, I would have to reach up into a little cubby and dig through my things. And the cubby that I had was actually above shoulder height. The only time I ever have to lift above my head or shoulders now is just a helmet, and I mean it's a very light object. Everything is placed right at arm's reach, so it made a huge difference.
We used to have to store some of our firefighting gear, apparatus, BA bottles up on shelving and racks that were shoulder height and sometimes above. So there was a great potential there for someone to get an injury removing these packs or getting them ready for service. Since the bib standard's been done, we've been able to place it in proper compartments, keep it at a safe level for people for lifting anything that's got any kind of significant weight to it, so there's been great improvement.
Our inventory levels were up and down. We didn't know what we had, where it was. And with the way it is now with the bib standard, we've seen that we can control those. We know what we have on hand now. We have everything in the open. Our gear is more sanitary, where it's not being put away wet into small cubby holes.
I find now the area, how things are cleaned up so well and there's less clutter, everything is so easily labeled. If you ever need anything, you know where it is, you know where it's going to be. There's mins and maximums posted at everything.
And some people bring stuff in, they just drop it, they wouldn't put it away where it had to be, and you come in and go, well, why didn't they put that away? Well, I didn't know where it went. Well, now it has a home.
Hazards are clearly painted. When you're backing one of the trucks in, the yellow pole is painted nicely. There's lines on the floor. You know exactly where you're backing the truck into. There's lines painted everywhere just to say where things are supposed to be and where you're supposed to be and what areas are hazard zones.
One of the changes that took place in the fire hall with the bib standard was my office was removed. And of course, nobody likes change, but taking out the office in the fire hall greatly improved the situation in here because it gave us more space, it made it much more ergonomic, and it also, everything now has a place, which is what we were looking for.
By the changes, removal of the walls, having the gear set up the way it is so that we have room in between each member, being able to move the apparatus back further to have a more direct line to your gear, there's a significant savings. And I mean, when someone talks, 10, 20, 30 seconds, they think, well, that's not a very long time. But in an emergency response situation, that's phenomenal.
This is a key contributor for the success with the bib standard within this area. And this is another reason why it's unique from production areas. They did not have any indicators or analysis, which the other production areas do, which help them with drive their SMQDC. So what we have here is the action register, and this actually helps with their continual improvement as well. They have on things in here, new lighting that they want to improve on. So they're not just stopping at their level 6, they want to progress with bib standard as time goes on, and this will help them do it. They update their audit scores on here every month now that they are a certified post. They keep that there for everyone to see, their certification sheet and who was here when we did it that day. This is a very small analysis on things that are anomalies when people come in here, so they can check that off. So the business unit leader knows areas which he needs to focus on to keep improving this area. We also have standard check sheets. When the MERTs come in, they know that the expectation is to keep it looking this good and what they have to do to keep it in that way. And any changes that they want to see goes back onto here. All of the audits are tracked and scored and also graphed, so you can easily see progress that they're making.
One important factor about the change that resulted from the bib standard here at our fire hall at CA1 Granton is the morale and the pride that was elevated in showing our fire department. We were at one time absolutely embarrassed to take people in here because of the dirt, the clutter and whatnot, but now we hold our heads high showing our fire department to other members.
Our facility here is unique to other facilities. We share our breathing apparatus, our compressor system. We are involved with a mutual aid group for where we have access to 28 other departments here in the county. Them coming in now, they come in and they look around and they just are wowed at how much of a change has been made here. And now you're actually getting calls from outside fire departments saying, can you help us organize our station the way it's been organized here?
they can back right in and go, oh, this is very nice. And they're quite impressed with the cleanliness, the improvement we've made in the area.
About 3 weeks into it, or 2 weeks into it, I started to see the change. I started to see things come together. It was hard to visualize how it was going to happen, but everybody that was involved made this happen. And I'm proud to come into this fire hall now. This, to me, is my home, basically. This is where I have to come to get ready to go to an event that could be life-threatening or, you know, anything that's environmental. Now I can come in here and I can be very proud of what's taken place here in this fire hall.
Speaking for myself and every member of the MERT team that I've discussed it with, nothing but positive attributes to having the bib standard done in here.
My overall opinion on bib standard events is that they really, when they're done, improve safety, quality. For us here in the fire hall, whether we were on training or if we were on an actual emergency call, we're able to come, grab our gear. We're not stumbling over someone else, another firefighter, and we're able to go directly to the call.
And one final comment I'd like to make about the bib standard approach here at the fire hall is recommendations and applause should go to the bib standard team here. There's only one word to explain it, and that's wow. Job well done.
The bib standard done here in the fire hall was a big team effort. It was led by the business unit leader, Chris Cody. He was met with some resistance at first. Not everyone was optimistic about the bib standard, but he really did convince them that it was the right approach to do in here and that it would save them time, it would be less congestion, and it was something that would benefit everyone. So without that team effort and a strong leader, this bib standard would not have been a success.
It's just been a great experience, and it's seeing on the floor and seeing here now, we proved that it can be done in just about every area.
Michelin, a better way forward.